Hey, this is Tom from BlackToad Studio, and today I'm having a game with Dom. I am bringing 1750 points of Black Templars here, and this is going to be kind of a last little hurrah before the Faith and Fury updates drop. So I just bought a few fun things to have a bit of a laugh with it, hopefully. Try to keep it as close combat focused as possible. So let's dive in here. So first of all, we have 3 HQs. Down front and centre here, we have the Warlord, which is going to be the Terminator Chaplain here. He's got the Benediction of Fury and obviously the Storm Bolter there. We have another Chaplain there with a Crozium and a Bolt Pistol, and of course we have the Emperor's Champion. And then we go into some troop choices here, because we are running a battalion. We have 10-man Crusader squad here, 5 Neophytes and 5 Initiates, and exactly the same over here. No upgrades on them at all, just all chain swords, bolt pistols, close combat weapons, all that jazz. And then we have almost the same here, but we're only running a 9-man squad here, so 1 less Neophyte. That is so the Emperor's Champion can get aboard the Rhino that they are taking as a dedicated transport. Then we go to the elite slots. We have a Relic Contemptor here, looking forward to having him run around the board, haven't had him out for a while. And then we have a 9-man Terminator squad here, or Assault Terminator squad. So we've got 5 Thunderhammers, with the Sergeants carrying one of them, and then we have 4 Lightning Claw Terminators. The idea is they'll be with the Chaplain, that's why there's 9 of them, as you'll see in a second. And then finally over here for the elites, we have a squad of Vanguard veterans, all with jump packs and varying weapons of brutality. So we have some power swords in there. The Sergeant, is going to be carrying a Lightning Claw with a Bolt Pistol, and we have a spattering of Storm Shields, because that's how I modded them quite a while ago. But yeah, they're probably hopefully quite useful. And then basically the Terminator's ride into this battle, instead of deep striking for a change, is going to be the Castus Assault Ram. Obviously that just comes as stock, there are no upgrades for it. As they don't get restricted for model size, I can put the 10 Terminators in there, so that'll be 9 normal Terminator Assault Squad and the Terminator Chaplain. So, there we go. That is my 1750 points of Black Templars. Let's see what Dom's bought.
Right, so here is my army. I've got 2 detachments. One over here, a battalion, and one over here, a spearhead. So we're going to try something a little bit different tonight. We're going to use a Tallarn Regiment. So starting over here, we have got a Salamander command vehicle here with a heavy bolter, heavy flamer. We've got a scout vehicle with a autocannon and heavy bolter. We then have a platoon commander with a las pistol and chainsword. We have got a company commander with a power fist. He is also the warlord, and he is able to issue an extra order, and he's got laurels of command there as well. We've got the Yarrick. Behind them, we have got the troop element. So we have got 3 infantry squads with missile launchers. They're all mounted up in these 3 chimeras with heavy bolters and heavy stubbers that we've kind of made coaxial there. Going over to the big guns over here, we've got 2 tank commanders with demolisher cannons, with heavy bolters, sponsons and heavy bolters in the hull. We have 2 heavy weapon teams, one with 2 autocannons, one over here with 3 mortars. So this one also has a heavy bolter. Back here we have got a Lehman Russ tank squadron with an exterminator with a las cannon in the hull and plasma cannons on the sponsons. We have got an executioner there with a las cannon in the hull, another exterminator with a las cannon and multi-melters in the sponsons. So nice selections of weapons there to take on these treacherous Templars. Yeah, treacherous. So let's move on to mission and deployment.
Okay, so here we are on the battlefield. We have some Templars versus Guard going on here. We'll find out who the true traitors are in a minute. It's going to be the Guard. We are playing the mission of Vital Intelligence, so that's just an Eternal War mission, so I'll run over that pretty quickly here. So we have 5 objectives. We've obviously got one here, one in the centre of the board, and then another 2 over here and here. And basically before the first battle round, we roll the dice, and if it matches one of the numbers down there, that objective is worth 2 points. However, if you roll a 6, all of them are worth 2 points. Other than that, I think there's normal rules. So you've got Slay the Warlord and First Strike, and obviously Line Breaker. So that is the mission. And at the moment, Dom has put 3 tanks in reserves, so squadron in reserve, and two heavy weapon teams.
Yep.
So that's why he hasn't quite got everything on the board, but that's quite scary because they can come from the side, because he is playing Tallarn rules. And he is also going first at the moment, unless this wonderful new BlackToad dice that I have in my hand rolls a 6. Let's see what happens. Not today. So we'll be back in a minute with Guard turn 1.
Turn 1 movement for the Guard. So we rolled the dice at the beginning of the turn to see which objective is live, and rolled a 6. So all the objectives currently in this turn are worth 2 points each. And let's just go through this slightly. So in the scout move, we moved up here onto this objective here. Over here, we've got demolishers moved up slightly here. The chimeras moved up. Basically everything in this army's moved up. We're going to make the most of the Tallarn Doctrine here. And as you see here, the chimeras are moving up into a firing position against that Crusader squad there. We've also got the demolisher here, has moved into a nice position. The Salamander command vehicle is moved up to put some support onto this tank here. So we'll be hitting on 2s, which is quite nice. Over here, this chimera is moved up as well to get in a nice bit of shelter from the assault squad. And the demolisher here should hopefully be in range of that squad down there. Let's find out in turn 1 shooting for the Astra Militarum. Right, so end of turn 1 shooting. So over here, the Salamander command vehicle here increased his ballistic skill to a 2 instead of a 3. So pretty good shooting over here. Demolisher opened up, first off, firing down into the squad which was sitting here, causing a lot of casualties, pretty much killing all the neophytes and 1 initiate. It was then followed by a hurricane of heavy bolters coming off as well, killing a few more. I think only 2 were left after that, so that's quite a lot of casualties. The heavy stubbers of the chimeras fired off into the 2 remaining members, killing 1. Heavy bolters fired off into the Contemptor over here, causing nothing at all. It was then down to the Salamander command vehicle firing its heavy bolter into the remaining initiate, killing him off. So that whole squad was being wiped. Moving over to the centre, we have the Salamander scout vehicle here, fired its heavy bolter and autocannon up into the building. So with an increased armour save and prepared defences there, it was pretty hard going, although we killed 2 of the assault marines there. Moving across, we then had the Demon Rust Demolisher tank commander here firing across. Every weapon bar the Hunter Killer. The Hunter Killer decided to fly off towards the flyer and did nothing. But coming down here, hit hard. Tom, though he has played this bad boy here. So the Demolisher Cannon and the Heavy Bolters really didn't do much because we were winning on a 4 instead of a 2 and a 3. The Chimera down here also opened up, killed off only a couple of the a couple of the neophytes there. Yeah. So there we go. 1 squad down, 2 more to go and a few nasty surprises. So of course we're not going to have an assault phase. So we're going to move straight into turn 1 for the Templars.
Okay, so as the Templars want to strike back here in their turn 1, the movement phase has ended, and as you can see, the Ram has flown up this way to get towards this objective, but obviously he can't hold it, but he can hopefully put some firepower down onto this Demolisher. This squad has stayed put back here just to hug the objective, and the Vanguard have jumped forward, going into the centre bit here. It's probably quite dangerous ground for them. Chaplain has come to back them up. He got Canticle of Hate off, which was his chosen listening. So they have 2 inches on their charge and some additional consolidation movement. The Dreadnought has also moved up with them. And then finally over here, the Rhino with the Emperor's Champion and the Crusader squad has moved up 10 inches to this side of the board. I'm not quite sure what they think they're going to do, but the Emperor's Champion has a habit of being annoying. So I hope that that continues in this game. So that is in the movement. We'll now head on into some shooting. Okay, so as we end the shooting phase for Templars in turn 1, we had a bit of an issue with the Magma Melter over here. I did hit, I think it was 4 times in the end. I did use a command point to make sure I got 6 shots with it, so not too bad. However, out of those 4, they all hit. However, we only did 5, well, we did 4 wounds in the end. 5. Oh, was it 5 wounds? Yeah. Sorry, 5 wounds on there in the end.
Oh, no, it was 4, my bad, 4.
Yeah, it was 4. Yeah, trust me, it's okay. Trying to make something, no, that's impossible with that roll. So yeah, and I rolled basically on the 2d6 picks, I rolled a 2 and then another 2 as the highest dice. So you can guess what the other dice rolls. Moving on to the centre of the board here, everything in this squad that could, and the Dreadnought here, fired into this Salamander here, taking it down to 5 wounds. Also, there's some fire from the Stormbringer here, also clipped in a few shots but didn't do anything. So in effect, not the most effective shooting phase. However, we'll now move on into the combat phase and let's see if the Vanguard can open up one of these tanks. Okay, so at the end of the combat phase, we did manage to kill that vehicle, which is no great surprise. It was actually the Dreadnought that finished it off. However, Dom rolled for blowing up, didn't get it the first time, decided to command point it and got it, which managed to take a wound off the Dreadnought and a wound off the Chaplain and killed one of the Vanguard as well. I managed to save a few of those. I think it was saved 3 mortal wounds in total out of all the rolls for the Templars, which is handy. Other than that, though, that was all the combat we had, other than this little rhino here bumping his face. Oh, Dom's got to fight back.
Here we go.
Here we go.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about. Yeah, 2 saves. That's what we're talking about.
And that's 2 wounds. So the Templar Rhino did nothing to the Chimera. So the Rhino is now down to 8 wounds. I will put that on in a second. That is the end of the round. So at the end of the round, we were both holding 2 of the objectives. So we both scored 4 points. And actually, no, yes. Oh, sorry. I just realised that was not your. That's the other one you're holding, isn't it? Yes. Yeah. So 4 points, and we've both got first strikes. So we're both on 5 points apiece. So we'll be back in a minute with the Guard, turn 2.
Turn 2 movement for the Guard. And the Tallarn troops here are now emerging. The 3 Leman Russes have popped up in the back corner. Going to be shooting into this objective here. Over here, the squad is deployed with the junior officer, or the platoon commander, sorry, who is down there. And they'll come out with the Chimera. They're going to put some fire in there. Demolisher moved very slightly forwards, so it's got a nice line of sight down this main road into the veterans, but also into the Dreadnought, which is obviously a very big threat at the moment. Down here, the Salamander command vehicle here is pushed back, and the Demolisher here as well has also moved back very slightly here. Across here, the Chimera has deployed its troops, formed a human shield against the Rhino there, hopefully preventing the Templars, which are inside, coming out and hacking us to pieces. And across here, Tom's unsure on this tactic. The Chimera here that was in combat with the Rhino has now pushed out of combat towards the backfield here. And finally, the heavy weapons teams have also emerged near this objective here to lay a bit of fire in towards the guys here in the centre. We haven't actually rolled for the objective, silly mistake. So here we go. Objective 1 this turn will be the active one. So I believe it is the one with the Crusaders on at the moment. So let's go back across here. Yeah, Crusaders are currently on there. We're going to find out in a minute if they're going to remain on there. But yes, this is objective 1 down here. So let's move into turn 2, shooting for the Guard. Right, so the end of the shooting phase for the Astra Militarum, or the Guard. Down here we've got move, so these guys have jumped over towards this objective here. The plan was originally to wipe these guys out and claim that objective for our own. Unfortunately, there's very resistant Marines here. So these guys were unable to fire. The Chimera fired some stuff in, killing off like one of the neophytes. Most of the firepower though came from over here. Both these Leman Russes fired everything they had into that one there. Didn't do anything there. The Executioner fired its main plasma in there. The las cannon shot off towards the flyer. Did nothing to this. This thing's still on full strength here. Down across here, however, the Demolisher here fired its heavy bolters into the Dreadnought. The Demolisher cannon, they fired off into this squad here. The casualties were also caused by an exploding Dreadnought, on a side note. So the squad is down to 3. As you can see here, the Contemptor has fallen. So the heavy bolters came in from Demolisher. The Demolisher, which was here, fired everything in there. The Chimera fired, the las guns fired, everything fired, and eventually took it out here. Demolisher here has fallen back because of get around behind them order was issued. So it's got a movement at the end or the beginning of the shooting phase. So he's fallen back into cover here. And over here we had gunners kill on sight for this squad here. So, this Leman Russ here. So he was firing, rerolling 1s there. And that was it really for orders. Finally back here as well, we had some mortar fire going off and autocannon fire. But because they moved, they weren't really able to do anything. So hopefully next turn they might be able to contribute a bit more towards the battle raging in this cityscape at the moment. So we're not having an assault phase. because these Tallarn troops don't really believe in it. So we are going to move into turn 2 for the Black Templars.
Okay, so at the end of Templars turn 2 movement, we've hit desperate times already. Obviously we've lost quite a bit, but we're going to try and recoup some with the Terminator squad down here and the Chaplain. They've jumped out here before the Castus assault ram moved away, so they're ready to have a look at both these tanks, hopefully, with the Chaplain. Obviously, I can't use his benediction, sadly, because he's his litany rather, because he's just got out of a tank. The Castus ram has come over here. He's got plenty of opportunities to shoot things knocking around here, and the Crusader squad and the Emperor Champion have jumped out to hopefully inflict some more casualties on the ground line. And the Rhino did a quick move that way, just to get onto the objective at the moment. He may assault a unit. He doesn't know yet. There's plenty of options. So that is the end of movement. We'll now move on into the shooting phase, because Templars don't do psychic. Okay, so at the end of the shooting phase for Templars in turn 2, the Ram actually did good, and he managed to take out the Demolisher quite substantially. I think he overwounded him by about 5, which was nice. Over here, the other weapons on there also shot into the squad down here, along with some bolt pistols from that squad, taking them down to, I think that's 3 men left there. Yeah, so not too bad. Rhino did try a few cheeky shots at the mortar squad over there, but did nothing. Over here, we had a storm bolt going to the tank. That did nothing. So that is all the shooting. We'll now see what the Templars can do in a little bit of combat. Okay, so as the Templars finish their combat phase in turn 2, mildly disappointing over here, because apparently 4 Thunderhammers, a Chaplain and 2 Lightning Claws is not enough to take out a Demolisher who is now left on 2 wounds. I must admit, I rolled pretty badly on the, I think it was the wounding in the end.
Yeah, it's a real shame.
Lots of 2s and 1s. Dom's very disappointed, as you can hear by his voice. However, we did take obviously the Chimera out here, which is obviously, and they've all piled in over that way. On this side of the battlefield, the remaining Guardsman squad gave up rather easily to the chainswords of the Black Knights there. And obviously the Emperor Champion charged in here and did, I think it was 3 wounds?
Yeah, he took one to Overwatch.
He took one to Overwatch as well, as you can see by the yellow dice there. Dom likes to point that one out, obviously.
Yeah.
Just like the Rhino here also took a wound in combat to Mortarsman.
Yeah.
So, but you know, hey, swings around about. We'll see what happens. At the end of that round, however, we actually have 3 points apiece again, because I'm holding this one, and this one over here. However, Dom is holding the 2-pointer here and the one over there, because obviously the flyer cannot do so. So it was 3 points apiece. So we're still completely dead even at the moment, which is reasonably remarkable from my point of view. But we'll soon see if the firepower for the Guard starts to overwhelm the Black Knights as we move on into turn 3 for Guard.
Turn 3 movement for the Imperial Guard. So the tank squadron here is slowly pushing forward here, making sure there's no enemies about. They're kind of moving up. This squad's still holding the objective, although they're going to turn their attention now onto that Vanguard squad, sorry. The platoon commander here is moved up to join them. Over here, Demolisher's left combat, kind of trying to get away. I'm pretty sure the Templars won't let him escape, but he is slowly trying to edge away. Maybe to draw their fire and attention elsewhere. Who knows? Down here, the Salamander command vehicle here is moving up to the centre, because objective 3 is now worth 2 points this turn. So right in the centre here, it's all to play for. So the command vehicle was moved up here. The squad from the Chimera have disembarked and now moving up towards the Chaplain as well to join in the firefight.
Honourable combat.
Honourable combat, yep, that's what the Guardsmen are doing. The Warlord over here, the company commander, embarked in his Chimera and reversed up the corner here to get out of the way of those Zealot Templars. So as you saw, the squad have disembarked from the Chimera. The Chimera has moved up, smashing into this building to get away from the Emperor's Champion here. Yarrick did disembark and he's moved up here to join with the autocannons. The mortar squad have also disengaged from combat there. So that is our movement. As you can see, there's a heavy Guard presence across the battlefield here, but the Templars, what Templars remain, are very hard hitting, and we really want to try and avoid them the best we can. So let's move in to turn 3 shooting for the Guard. End of turn 3 shooting for the Imperial Guard. So down here in the centre, the Chaplain finally fell. Las guns came in here Nothing, pretty much ricocheted off his armour. The heavy flamer, however, came in and incinerated the chaplain there. The heavy bolts still had nothing to shoot at, so it's just a corpse on fire. Of course here, once again, there's no shooting. Terminators are kind of out of line of sight at the moment from the main guard force, and the Demolisher wasn't able to do anything anyway. Down here, we had some first rank, second rank action going on here, firing into the Free Stern Guard. Vanguard, I keep saying Stern Guard. Vanguard, killing off one of them. They were then followed up by the Lehman Russes here. So the Lehman Russes fired their sponsons and las cannons into that squad there, finally wiping them out, securing this objective really, because there's not much the Templars can do with this one. However, this one here fired las cannon up towards the Templars at the rear, killing off one of them. So it went pew, killing off one of those. The auto cannons as well came in, killing off the neophytes. So they have gone. And that was really about it. Down here, auto cannons, heavy bolters kept going in here, taking 2 wounds off of the Rhino, but except for that, doing nothing else. So, not too bad. The chaplain has fallen in the centre, as I said there. The Vanguard have fallen there, leaving 2 very mobile units in the ground. So, moving into turn 3 for the Black Templars.
Okay, so as the Templars kick off turn 3 movement, over here the chaplain has decided that he's going to try and take the Demolisher on his own. It could be suicide. We shall see how many shots he gets in Overwatch. Over here the squad of Terminators decided to go after the Salamander command vehicle because they want to get away from these things over here, but also try and take a target down. The squad that was over here has managed to get in range of this objective, so hopefully we'll get a point there. The Flyer has zipped around this side because obviously it's a little bit restricted in its movement because I've kept it in full flight mode because I want to keep its -1 up. The Rhino has backed up onto this objective. He might charge them, and he hasn't decided. The Emperor's Champion has seen its prey and is going to go and hopefully cut some grass over here. We'll see how that goes for him. So that's the movement. We'll now move on into shooting. Okay, so at the end of the shooting phase, we had the assault ram fire its magma welter into the Chimera here, and that is gone. It also fired its fire fury missiles into the heavy weapon squad here, managed to take out 1.5 bases. The rest of the damage was done by the Rhino here. He shot the Storm Bolter into it, taking off 1 base. Other than that, we had a load of pistols fire into here, taking out 1 man. Also, Salamander took some pistol fire from these guys, didn't take anything. And the chaplain over here tried his luck against the Demolisher and did nothing as well. So we're now going to head on to the assault phase. And number 1, hopefully he survives Overwatch. Number 2, hopefully they get in. Okay, so as turn 3 combat for the Templars comes to an end, down here the Rhino rushed in. Didn't manage to do anything, even though it did roll a double 6 to hit. It then rolled a double 1 to wound. So, you know,
Lost the wound to a mortar team.
and he lost the wound to a water team again. So over here, the Emperor Champion charged in, taking out 4 of the guardsmen, and also that he took an extra one to leadership. On this side of the board, the chaplain did his job, taking out the Demolisher over here, so which is good. However, the Terminators here failed their charge even with the reroll. So huzzah for the Salamander.
One died to Overwatch.
And 1 died to Overwatch as well. Yes, so yeah, that's a fair point. So that is the end of the combat phase. So that's also the end of this turn. So we actually, I think score-wise, Dom was holding the double 1 again, weren't you?
Yeah,
Yeah. So you get.
No, this is a double 1.
Oh, sorry, the other one. So
So
you are still holding that, though. So
3 points.
3 points, and I've got obviously this one here, 1 over there, and 1 over there. So 3 each again. Oh. So still deadlocked at the moment. We'll now move on into turn 4 for the guard, and let's see how they do.
Turn 4 movement for the guard. So down here, the company commander, the Warlord, has disembarked from his Chimera. The Chimera then moved up simultaneously with him. The command vehicle as well has moved up here, and we're going to put as much firepower on these 5 initiates as we can. We need to make sure this objective is secure for future turns. Down here, combat continues as always against the Emperor's Champion. I don't really fancy their chances. This turn, however, objective number 5 is the one that is active, and the chaplain is happily sitting on there at the moment. However, this Lehman Russ has flanked off from the others, and it's got a nice line of sight down here towards the chaplain, who is, in this case, the closest target. The other 2 Lehman Russes are moving up towards the centre of the battlefield, but they have also, these 2 have got a nice line of sight into the Terminators down there, so hopefully they can do a bit of damage into them. This squad here have moved up. Going towards objective 3 here, because we don't fancy these guys' chances much. Down here, however, the mortars have disembarked. I'm going to flank around there to hold objective 2. Yarrick has charged up his Orky Power Fist here, and he is going into combat with the Rhino. It may explode, but Yarrick is a man of great talents. So we'll find out what he can do. So let's move into shooting turn 4 for the Imperial Guard. Right, so turn 4 shooting for the Imperial Guard. So down here, geez, it didn't go well at all. Everything kind of fluffed. We killed 1 here, so we might be engaging in combat there to try and deal with the Templars. Down here, however, we have killed off several of Terminators there, from the Executioner, taking out 3 of the Lightning Claws, and a couple other shots came in here, did a little bit of damage. Down here, however, the Exterminator on the flank fired its autocannons, bam, 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 into the Chaplain there, slaying the Warlord and taking that objective. So the Terminators are going to have to move back to try and claim that objective again. Across the battlefield, however, nothing else really happened. Yarrick tried his pistols against here. I think didn't really do anything. So we're going to do an assault. Yarrick's going to charge in there and show that Rhino who's boss. And possibly, as I said there, we're going to try and charge in there as well.
Better do the vehicle as well, in my opinion.
Yeah, do everything. So we're going to move in to turn 4 assault for the Imperial Guard. Turn 4 assault for Guard, and in this turn it was a great reminder why I don't tend to assault with my Guard. So the Chimera and the company commander charged into combat here against these initiates. Initiates. We killed 1 with the company commander, smashed him in the face, and destroyed his power armor. And then they fought back with very sharp chainsaws and did 2 wounds back to my company commander there. Over here, the Emperor's Champion hacked through, walked through the 4 guardsmen, and they just fell over. So they're all dead. But you know, these things happen in war. And down here as well, we have the Yarrick charged in here and doing 2 wounds to the Rhino. The Rhino fought back and did nothing. So the Rhino is slowly on its way out. And the heavy weapons team did nothing as well. So that is it for Guard turn 4. And I think Tom may need leadership for his Terminators, but except for that, we're going to move on to turn 4 for the Black Templars.
Okay, so here we go for turn 4 movement for the Templars. Over here, the Ram has made a move to this side of the table because this is the only real chance I've got to take these tanks out, so he's going to hopefully have a couple of pops over here. Terminators have aimed to secure this objective just temporarily because there's not really a lot in range of their very awkward movement characteristic. And then over here, these guys have stayed put, hopefully going to try and take that company commander out because it is the Warlord. And over here, the Rhino finally has stayed put, and the Emperor's Champion has made a move towards this squad over here, hopefully going to take out another squad. We shall see. Okay, so as we end the shooting phase for the Black Templars in turn 4, over here, the Cast Assault Ram has made another kill of a tank. So over here, it took out the Rust with the plasma sponsons. It then also fired its Fire Fury missiles over this side of the board and managed to take out another base of mortars. So not brilliant, but at least it's 1 less shooting at us. The Emperor Champion shot a bolt pistol into the squad and killed 1. Also over here, the bolt pistols opened up into the company commander, taking it down to 1 wound. I think the attacks might be going on him though, so we'll see how that goes. But other than that, not else much I could do. So we'll now move on to the combat phase and see what happens. Okay, so the Templars have finished turn 4 assault. Over here, the Emperor's Champion came in and took out another 4 guardsmen. On this side of the board, we managed to take out the company commander over there, getting a Warlord kill. So that bumped me an extra point there, which is great. There was no other combat because nothing else was in range. However, at the end of that round, we're actually ending up points-wise. I'm on 15, Dom's on 14. That was because I held the double pointer here, which is worth 2, and the single point on over there, which is 3, and also got a Warlord kill, which is 4. Dom is holding this one here, and this one here.
Sort of objectives.
And sorts of objectives. Yeah.
Swap sides.
Yeah, pretty much. Switch sides, haven't we? Yeah. So, so that basically puts us to me on 15, Dom on 14. So pretty close game so far. However, we're now going to move on to turn 5, which will be our final turn because it is getting late. So let's see who can fight it out for the last round. Here we go.
Right, so turn 5 movement for the Imperial Guard. So began turn by rolling, which objective is active, and it is in fact objective 3 in the center here. So these guys are disengaged, kind of flanked round. There's not many of them left after a bit of a fail of morale there, but the Emperor's Champion is still alive and kicking after taking 1 wound in combat. The Chimera over here is still locked up there, moving across here as well. The Leman Russ on this flank is repositioned ever so slightly, but he's going to be targeting those Terminators, hopefully to thin them out a little bit here. Over here, the Leman Russ here has moved up towards that objective, but also he's got a nice line of sight down here towards the Terminator blob, and can put some flaming plasma death down there. Yes, kill the Terminators. Kill them while we can. Yarrick is in command here in the center, with both squads there. Hopefully they can put some fire into the Emperor's Champion and see if they can do anything. But that is it for our movement in turn 5. Now let's see what we can do in turn 5 shooting for the Imperial Guard. Turn 5 shooting for the Guard. Over here, the autocannon, the multi-melters and the lascan fired in there. Did nothing to them whatsoever. Oh, actually no, the autocannon killed 1 Terminator there. The execution over here fired plasma and lascannon, still doing nothing to these Terminators. Those storm shields are pretty annoying, to be honest. Over here as well, the Salamander command vehicle came in, heavy flame with the Champion, killing him off there, leaving the objective here secure for the Guard. And that was really about it. We had some mortar fire going off with Yarrick, issuing order down there as well, and yeah, it didn't do anything at all to these Terminators. So that is it for our turn 5. We're going to go into assault, really mainly for the Chimera down here, hopefully to kill 1 man before he falls, but that's about it. So, turn 5 assault for Guard. Not really much to report here. Surprisingly, the Chimera didn't do anything in combat there. Templars got a few hits off, but then it was all the ones were rolled. Yes. So absolutely nothing in combat there. The Chimera is a very hard thing to hit and wound. So there you go. We're going to move into turn 5 for the Black Templars.
Okay, so Templars movement was pretty simple in turn 5 here. The flyer here has moved up just to get a good range of fire around the board, and over here the last remaining knights here have moved forward towards the central objective. They're going to try and clean it off with the help of the Castus as well, to get rid of that double point in scoring objective, and then we'll see what happens after that. So we're back in a minute with shooting. Okay, so at the end of shooting in turn 5 for the Templars, the Castus assault ram fired its main cannon into here. It hit 3 times and then, well, failed to wound 3 times, which is pretty impressive on a strength 10 weapon. And then basically the Hellfire missiles all fired into the squad down here, wiping them out. So we've got one last bit of action to do here. We have the Terminators here are going to charge into the Salamander, and everything else is already in combat. So let's see what happens. Okay, so as the game comes to an end, just go through the last assault phase in turn 5 here. The Terminators here managed to take out the Salamander quite efficiently with the Thunderhammers. Other than that, there was no other combat, so that was it. So the game actually ended almost on a draw. It was actually 17 to Dom and 16 to me. If I had been thinking straight, I would have moved these guys into Dom's deployment zone and actually got line breaker, but I didn't. So obviously Dom got that, which gave him the extra point. So that's so Dom wins the game 17 to 16. However, really good fun game, especially for the last one with with the current Templars as they are, without any of the Faith and Fury upgrades. You have a good game, Dom?
Yeah, really good fun.
Good. Any stick out units for yourself?
I really like the Salamander command vehicle, because it kind of nipped around and kind of solved problems by flaming things and boltering them. But
they're pretty good, especially with the Tallarn rules as well.
Yeah,
gives them a little bit of extra punch as well. And for me, it's going to be my Ram, because I don't know, it normally dies pretty quickly, but it's actually managed to do a full circle of the board, and I think it took out 4 tanks in the end.
Done quite a lot.
I think it took out Demolisher over here.
It's definitely taken
3. It took 3 out, yes, and a Chimera. Yeah, that's fun. So yeah, pretty good, and it also softened up a lot of men, so not bad. So anyway, that is Dom and Tom from BlackToad Studio here. We are all done, but we will be seeing you again soon as we do more battle reports. So thank you all for watching, and if you haven't done so already, please give us a like and a subscribe, and any comments are welcome. Thank you. Take care.